Welcome back to the channel. I spent my entire week with this 2024 Land Rover Defender 110. Now to be specific, this is the 110 P400X with the Explorer package. Just at the beginning of 2024, I showed you the 130. I loved it so much, so naturally I had the chance to get the 110 and I absolutely jumped on it because this SUV does so much things right. The only thing it doesn't have going for it is it's absolutely not affordable. It's gonna run you about $125,000 for the trim that I'm gonna show you here today. But let me tell you, it is an awesome thing. I really like it, and I think you will too. So I'm gonna show you the exterior, I'm gonna show you the interior, and of course, a POV drive. Let's get right into it. So starting off with the front end, we have the classic Defender. Look, it's extremely dirty. I've been driving in crap roads, crap conditions, just to get kind of over here, and you clean it your best, and the car washes are all closed because it's really cold outside. So anyways, you're gonna have to forgive me for the little specks of salt that are on here. Trust me, this thing looks good when it's clean, and I do have some B-roll when it is clean, so I'm trying to cut that in as we go. But really nice daytime running LEDs. I love the circular thing. It kind of gives me like Bronco vibes, maybe Jeep vibes, but a lot more high class. This thing looks like an absolute tank. Also got some steel on the bottom, looks really nice. Got the fog lights there. This thing just looks like a tank. And look at this color too. You've kind of got this nice black paint that goes all the way up and continues near the back where the spare tire is, and I'll show you that in a second. I like this pattern here on the hood. The Defender logo right there. Also, the Land Rover logo looks clean. Front-facing camera, parking sensors, you name it, we got it. And you can also see, we'll go over here quickly, you got this here column, this pillar that is actually an additional air intake. So let's say you're driving through sand, water, or whatever, and you don't want to damage the internal components with water and stuff, well, you can have this air intake that's going to take in higher quality air, so that way everything's running smoothly the entire time. Now under the hood is going to be the same as you find on the 130 that I showed you last year. We've got the 3-liter 6-cylinder turbocharged mild hybrid engine. That's going to give us 395 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. We've got the 8-speed automatic transmission, and of course, this thing is all-wheel drive. Now onto the side profile where you can see that it's not as big. I don't think it has that much of an extended back like the 130 Outbound did. We do have 3 rows in here, which is very nice. Are you going to use the 3rd row? Probably not. It's really small, but the 3rd row is actually heated, which is unbelievably cool. You don't see that too much. That's what I'm saying. This thing does luxury to a whole other level. I like these big blacked out rims as well. We've of course got adjustable air suspension, so it's really cool to look at. Got the orange brake calipers. Of course they're Brembos. You're talking about Land Rover here. They're gonna give you the best they can. The tint looks really nice. I love this thing, the way that it looks from the side. It just looks really prepared. And part of our Explorer package means we get this Land Rover box that you have a key on that comes with your key fob. You stick it in here and you can open it up and you can have a bunch of, extra storage stuff. You want to store stuff outside the vehicle, you can absolutely do that. Over here, we have the ladder for our Land Rover, and of course, you've got the Land Rover badge. Again, put the key in here and the ladder will slide down and you can store stuff on your roof. Now, last but not least, we're a little bit in the dark here because the sun is going away, even though we're kind of in the middle of the day. We have the rear for the Defender. You see, we have a massive rear tire, which kind of does obstruct the rear view just ever so slightly, but honestly, you have a digital rear view camera, which is mounted right up there. As you can see, I like the taillights as well. They're nice and visible to everybody. They're not too low, not too high. Got your tow hooks there as well. You can see how big the tires are. You can see how much ground clearance we are, although right now we're in the access point, the access kind of height. So it's at its lowest setting right now, but let's open up the trunk and show you what we're working with in here. Massive amount of trunk space. The 3rd row is actually folded down and it's under this mat. So if I was to actually use the 3rd row, this mat doesn't really fold up with the 3rd row. I'd have to actually take it out. I've got 2 buttons here to adjust my air suspension as well. So say I have like a heavy load and I need it to be lower, I can hold that, or for whatever reason, you need it to be higher, I can hold this button here and it will do either one. We've got vents back here for our passengers. They can control the speed at which it comes out, and they have heated seats back here. 1 button here on the left, 1 button here on the right, as well as 2 cup holders and some charging available. I also really like kind of these little roof things, really cool. We'll take a closer look as we head into the interior. Speaking of interior, look, we're already halfway in. Let me climb all the way in since it's freezing outside. Let's check out inside. All right, so first up, as usual, for the Range Rover Defender 110, we're going to start off with the back seat. Nice and easy to get in. You can see also you have this ladder right next to me. That is part of the Explorer package, which we do have on here, which is nice. We do have a third row, but it's folded down because I like more trunk space than anything else. So I kind of keep it folding down. And also, I just don't fit back there. Like, there is absolutely no room for a fully grown adult. But very nice, heated, ventilated seats, all that stuff. There's no step or anything to get in, but it's quite easy. You kind of got to put your foot up. So let's do that. Let's hop right in here. Close the door. And we've got plenty of legroom. Definitely not a concern. Little pocket storage here. I like kind of like the wood trim on the handle. Everything is black in here. It's a very basic interior. You can upgrade it. You can get different colors and different schemes and stuff like that. But look, I like this interior quite a lot, actually. I think it's good. This middle seat right here can actually fold down and get out of the way. I like kind of like the two little, I call them like extra sunroofs, or like little mini sunroofs that kind of come in through the sides there. Really nice. Nice and massive windows. I like that as well. I also like these carpets here, very like weatherproof, especially because we're approaching winter, so it's very nice to see. We've got our tri-zone climate control, so this is the third zone technically, because also in back there you can kind of control a little bit of the climate for the third row, but you can more control it from the front, which I'll show you. But yeah, it's the classic kind of Jaguar Land Rover stuff here. If I can get close enough, you can see that I can roll over this way for the temperature, but if I push, I access the heated or ventilated seat controls, which is really nice. I've got two USB-C chargers and some vents back here as well, which is going to be a nice touch. It's cold out, so I have the heated seat on. Love the view of the sunroof. We've got the Meridian sound system speakers right here on the back, so the sound is going to be very good in here. And yeah, really comfortable interior. You got a ton more space back there. It's just ridiculous if you don't need to use the third row, which I don't. So I've just got trunk space for days, but I could fit a ton more people in here should I have to. And that's really good news. So let's hop in the business end. Let's check out what's up front. Okay, so next up is the front end, business end for the Defender 110. It's going to chime at me, so let's actually just hop in. But look how much of a kind of bench that we're sitting on. The seat's on a bench itself just to be high enough to actually see over the hood. So let's get in here because that Jaguar sound or Land Rover sound is going to go off the whole time. So once you're sitting in, you're greeted by this really nice steering wheel. I really like it. You've got some controls here on the right-hand side. It's kind of hidden on what these things do, but you can kind of tell that it kind of sets the cruise control, and you've got your heated steering button, which of course it's on. Currently 0 outside. It's cold. And then we've also got on the left-hand side, we've got media controls, quick access buttons, and kind of the surround safety stuff that you can do. I like the Defender badge here. I like the spokes. Last year with the 130, it was kind of like white. It was a white across. This is just the base black interior, which I don't hate. I think it still looks really cool because you got these silver accents here inside the doors. And I like where the door handle actually is. It's just easy to just kind of reach down there very nicely. We've got 3 levels of a memory seat setting, so excellent there as well. A little bit of, maybe like a handle right here, as well as maybe a little bit of storage. We've also got a nice digital gauge cluster, the standard one that you see on a lot of, basic Range Rovers, and also the Defender that we saw last year. This is pretty much the same. You can kind of go through it. You can kind of change the layout and, kind of what you're seeing. You can change what's in the info panel as well. You can have things like navigation, where the power's going, your driver assistance stuff. You can have a bunch of stuff. I prefer it just to be kind of the trip computer, the trip summary. I like that. You can have 1 gauge, 2 gauge, whatever you want. All the info is right there. We do have a little heads-up display, which is nice. I like the dash up here as well. I got the vents. I like this. Then we get over to our infotainment display. It's not terribly big, but it's also perfectly sized for the vehicle. And you kind of need you got to go through a lot of this stuff, right? Because there's a lot of off-road settings, vehicle dimensions, weight sensing. So there's a lot of stuff that this thing can do, so you're gonna have to spend some time with it. You can also look, we even have like an air quality measure, what it is outside versus what's coming inside. Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of info, but it's got wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, so that's going to be nice. The camera system is really good too. You can kind of see underneath the camera. You kind of have like an off-road camera too if you want, and then you can also get yourself the towing one as well. So really nice. Parking sensors, the works, that's there, so we like that as well. Moving a little bit lower, we got our controls for our climate control. Like I said, tri-zone, so you can control the back one from here too, or from the screen actually as well. You got to access the climate menu. Standard gear shifter. There's no sport mode per se, but it does have the transmission you can put in sport mode. You just tap that over to the side. That's how that's going to work. Same thing as I showed you in the back seat. You can access your heated and ventilated seat settings by this way, by just rolling the dial there. So that's very nice to have. Obviously, my heat's on blast. We've got kind of our defrost buttons. This has kind of the same heating stuff that's in normal rear windshields. This one is in the front, so it's a really fast defrost. I really do like it. I like the multi-touch buttons too, so I can kind of turn this dial into my, drive mode selector. You can get grass, sand, rock crawl, wade, and then you can have a custom as well. And of course, we do have the grass, gravel, and snow, but I just usually drive it in comfort. That's usually the one I go with, but I like kind of the duality, and then you can kind of have this guy change for the fan speed should you need that. Usually I just leave it on auto, and it kind of takes care of itself. And then we have the air suspension in here, so you can adjust it to which one you want. Usually when I get out of the car, the air suspension will drop all the way, but you can also have it go up into its highest setting. Say you're doing some off-road, you're expecting to do it, you can do that as well. A little bit of storage down here. We've got a USB-C charger, USB-A, normal stuff. This guy doesn't really move out of the way, but it's because we have an entire little fridge console in there, and as well as a wireless charger right there. So most of the storage happens under here, and I've been using it. I like kind of this panel. I like how they have like all these exposed screws as well. It's very cool. I liked it last year. I love it again this year. You can see we've got a little storage thing with a little hidden USB-C charger right there. I like the Defender logo right there. That's kind of encaved into the dash. Looks very clean, really nice. Last but not least is going to be the seats. Like I said, black, nothing crazy to write home about, but very comfortable. The heat and the ventilation works exceptionally well on them. You can feel everything very nicely. I think it is a good touch. Very comfortable though, but the ride quality in this thing is obviously going to be really, really good. And then, of course, last but not least, we have a digital rear view camera. I love to have it. I always keep it on. Good at night, good in the daytime. Super good. Obviously, when I have my child in the back, I always have to turn it off, but that when she's not here, I can just use the digital. Very nice. So that's going to do it for the interior tour for the Range Rover Defender 110. Let me strap that GoPro on my forehead. Let's take it on the road. Let's get out on the road. Let's get out of this parking lot that I'm in here. The sun's finally coming out, but as you can see, it has snowed even more. So with the snow, obviously now the parking lot that I was in kind of has its stuff cleared away, so that's nice. But still, last night I actually got some experience with kind of like driving on the roads when the plows hadn't passed yet, and I can tell you it was a really enjoyable experience. I mean, we were in the safest, I just felt like I was in the safest vehicle that I could possibly find myself in any type of winter weather, and it could have gotten worse, and I think the Defender would have handled it really well. And that's something I didn't really get to try last time around with the Defender 130. It was like really the end of winter. It was starting to get warmer almost. I know the sun's out now and there's a lot of water on the road, but it wasn't like as, the chances of getting snow were not as big, but this time we got it quite a bit. So it's been fun, but obviously now roads are dry, so it's no problem. We're just kind of driving in basically the water, but still, if the streets were to flood again, I've got like air suspension, and I've got it's able to wade sense and do everything else in between, so I'm gonna be fine. Visibility in the 110 has been pretty good. I sit at the lowest point, but that the sea can go, but I can always see kind of the hood right there in front of me. I've got big mirrors as well. The box kind of blocks a little bit of it, but I can still see the road. I can tell if I'm in the lines or not, stuff like that. Got good blind spot detection. I've obviously got the digital rear view mirror right here, so I'm always kind of able to see everything, so that's good. So really my blind spots are nothing. So it's super, super easy to see. You've also got 360-degree cameras should you need to see anything else that you don't think you can see, especially when you're trying to park this thing. The 360 cameras really do come in handy. Now the Defender doesn't have many sport modes. It just kind of has, a bunch of terrain modes, but it does have a transmission sport mode. So as we overtake this slow tractor here, let's give it the beams. Oh yeah, see, no problem doing that. No hesitation at all. I mean, it's not the V8, right? The V8 would have been cool and fun and everything like that, but I don't feel like I absolutely need it because this thing can handle itself on its own with almost 400 horsepower. We have a nice little pickup there. No problem getting up to highway speeds. As you just saw, no problem overtaking any slower traffic. Like there was just no hesitation from it. You can throw the transmission into sport mode. It'll kind of help you out there. But I've been pretty much in comfort or snow mode. But of course you have like every other terrain mode that you can possibly think of. So that is going to be super helpful when you're kind of, even if you want to drive in the sand, you want to take it off road, or just changing conditions and you need to change your drive mode on the fly, you can absolutely do that. This Defender 110 is just ready for everything. It also handles quite well. Like, obviously it's not the most sporty thing in the world, but I still feel like I can predict the vehicle well. I still feel like I know what it's going to do, especially in the winter and like not so great conditions. I don't feel like it's going to slide out on me or anything like that are going to happen. It is worth mentioning though that I do have winter tires on, but that's because it's mandatory here in Quebec. We absolutely have to have them on. But obviously that helps me a lot, but still the all-wheel drive coupled with the winter tires, this thing is just an absolute winter weather beast. And I can always kind of feel what the car is doing. I think even if I was to take this thing off-roading with all the different camera angles and stuff that I could access, I'm never going to be lost in terms of, having to guess what the car is going to do. I just kind of know and I can read off that. Even from comfort mode, this thing has got some power from a dig. Really, really good. Like, it's just kind of fun to drive and just fun to own because, like I said, you're just never afraid of like, oh, should I go out? Like, what if the roads are bad? Like, doesn't matter if the roads are bad. We've got the perfect vehicle for it. Like, it's just one of those peace of mind things that it's just really allowed me to really enjoy owning this vehicle for a week, just driving it every single day, kind of on the last day here, and I've really got to experience it, I think, the way that I wanted to last year and I didn't really get to, so that's kind of why I jumped on it again. But yeah, so not much has changed between the 130 and the 110. Obviously the 130 outbound had no third row and just had like a really long back. This one has the third row, but are you ever going to use it? Like, do I think I could fit back there? Absolutely not. Probably never going to use it. But still, it's nice to have it in case you have a bunch of people over or, you have family down, whatever it is, and you need more space. You can have it. People would have to get crunched back there just a little bit for a little while. And that's it. You still have the option to do it should you need to. So that's nice as well. So that's just going to be about it for my thoughts on the entire Range Rover Defender. It drives really well. I love the 130. I love the 110. Would love to get a chance to try the V8 before it goes away. We'll see if that ends up happening. But if it doesn't, I think, just driving the two kind of 130, 110 has really given me so much love for the Defender platform. I do think that if you can afford it, it's definitely going to be worth the money just for the peace of mind that it gives you, because it is such a good, daily driver. It can handle anything. It's just a tank. It's just an absolute beast. And if you can't really, you don't really want to do the G-Wagon, maybe you don't like the way it looks, then this one's kind of like a lot more affordable than that, right? And maybe not as fast or as cool, but definitely more affordable when it comes to that. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. The only thing I can't speak to is, of course, the reliability, because I only get it for a week, and so far for the 7 days that I've had it, it's been absolutely flawless. But owners, let us know in the comments how it has been. I want to hear everything, what it's like to own one of these things, and are you buying a new one? Now, with that being said, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We'll see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.